For all the latest news in North Central Washington, go to ncwlife.com or find us on Facebook. Got a news tip? Email us at news@ncwlife.com or call 888-2020.
Pybus University, where learning is a lifelong adventure. The Pybus Public Market is pleased to offer a series of unique and fun classes for the Wenatchee Valley community. Classes are taught by local volunteers with an interest and aptitude in the subjects that they teach.
Great. Well, thanks for coming, everyone. As I'm looking at you, this was billed as a session where we were going to talk a little bit and then actually repair people's gear. So I don't see a lot of people carrying gear that looks like it needs to be repaired. So good. Let me see who's got stuff to fix. All right, good. So it won't take us too long probably to take care of you guys. So I think what I'll probably do just a little bit of reformatting. I'm going to do my little shtick with some areas here locally that you can get things fixed. I've got a show and tell pony show here where I can show you the coolest stuff to fix stuff. And then I'll open it up to some Q&A. So if you've got specific items that you want to get repaired, throw those out. If I don't know, probably someone in the room will. So we'll pass the mic around a little bit.
And why don't you introduce your volunteers over there?
Oh yeah, thank you very much. So I want to thank my volunteers for coming down. Hopefully we can keep them a little bit busy, but I've got Kathleen Coos in the back here, extreme seamstress, and then Lisa Dahlgreen and Matt. Lisa's probably going to do the sewing, but Matt's a good fix-it guy, so he'll be helping us. And then the ED of Wenatchee Outdoors, Sarah Schaefer. And then Jan, my wife, Jan Dappen's going to be helping some also with one of the machines over here. And Jamie Tackman may wander in. He was going to help also, so he lives out in East Wenatchee. Maybe the weather's got him stuck a little bit. So anyway, thank you all for coming in. This was a little bit of a person-intensive and gear-intensive session today, so thanks for coming down so that we didn't have to get everyone here in vain. Also want to thank Katja for putting this on. She's spearheading, or one of the spearheads of Pybus. And so she's doing a great job. It's a big volunteer job, so thank you for doing this. It's really great to have this Pybus University going on. It's great adults and continuing education. All right, there's a handout here that I'm going to go over really quickly, and if you have details as some of this is being discussed, please stop me. But I wanted you to be aware of different resources in town to fix things. Obviously tonight we're trying to get you better versed in fixing your own stuff, but a lot of times there's things that are beyond either your skill level or your machinery. A lot of this outdoor stuff, if you're working on a pack seam, if you've got wetsuits, sometimes you've got really big seams to deal with, and some of our home machines can't handle it. So, and likewise, if you've got shoe issues, those are difficult things for us to take care of ourselves. So American Shoe Shop, great place to go if you've got to resole good hiking shoes. Now, a lot of shoes these days are disposable, so when the seam wears out, the shoe's pretty well shot and you throw it away. But if you have a good hiking shoe, a mountaineering boot that can take a Vibram sole, has a Norwegian welt, the American Shoe Shop's the place to do it. They used to do resoles on climbing boots. There's a possibility they'll be doing that again. For quite a few years they did it. Stopped doing it. I was talking to Josh Tarr. He said, you know, those things just really stink. So maybe it was the stink factor, but really I think the person that did it for him may not be around right now, but he's negotiating right now with another climber who may be taking care of the resoling of boots. Arlberg Sports, they have both a kind of a full-service ski shop and full-service bike shop, and particularly in the ski area, they're pretty unique. They've got this Reichman machine. It's fairly new to them. It's really state-of-the-art machinery that will take care of any kind of base issue. They can put basically any kind of pattern on your bases, level them out, work the edges. They'll automatically do edge grinds and edge beveling from anything like a rental shop type of ski to a World Cup racing ski, and it's all done automated. It's all automated and computer programmed. So with tuning, and those of you who have skis know that the tuning job is usually as good as the tuner. And in this case, pretty much every ski comes out very, very consistent. So it's a great machine they've got. They have a full-service bike shop. We've got a number of full-service bike shops in the area. Cycle Central is another one, so I've got them mentioned here. Cycle Central also has a ski shop, and they work on bases, edges as well. And then Full Circle is a full-service bike shop too. I particularly like Full Circle. Dan, the guy that's there, will talk your ear off. So you got to go in with quite a bit of time, but you learn a lot about bikes if you're willing to sit around and talk to him. He'll fill you in a lot. So it's really a good education to go in there and go in with an extra half hour, and you'll come out of there a half hour wiser. Okay, only place to go if you've got an old bike. This gentleman definitely knows. I skipped over performance footwear just because I was talking about bike shops, but Performance has actually now been purchased by Cycle Central, so they're part of the same overall management. They're good at fitting boots, dealing with specialty foot issues at Performance, so it's a good place to go if you've got sort of odd feet sizes or foot issues. And they tend to send a lot of their more complicated fitting issues over to American Shoe Shop. One thing that I forgot to mention about Arlberg is they are really, if you're a skier, they're really good with fitting ski boots, punching boots. So that's if you do have a hard shell, whether it's a downhill boot or a backcountry boot, they're really, really good at taking care of you there. If you need custom insoles, another great place to go for that type of stuff.
Pybus University, where learning is a lifelong adventure.
Is your vehicle in need of a quick oil change or tune-up before hitting the road this summer? Stop by Quick Lube and Tune, the home of the good guys at 610 South Wenatchee Avenue.
Pybus University, where learning is a lifelong adventure.
Two places that will take care of sewing. And so if you've got something that's bigger than you can handle yourself or that a friend can handle, Diane Ritter on Kittitas Street. Test. Diane, very reasonable rate, and so she's a good one to have in your database as a possibility to take care of the more complicated stuff. I've had her do some complicated zippers, and she's done a really good job on them. She's very affordable too. And then pins and needles, I know a number of our outdoor crowd use pins and needles. They're probably best known for doing formal wear, weddings, proms, but they have the machinery and the know-how to do outdoor items as well. For some of the supplies you might need for some of these jobs, Joann Fabrics is a good place to keep in mind. They're not very strong on outdoor materials, so getting nylons and meshes and different types of materials you might need for outdoor projects probably won't happen there, but they do have a lot of the knickknacks, the elastics, Velcros, threads, different types of buckles, so it's a good place to be aware of. Leavenworth Mountain Sports, again, a full service, a good ski shop. So if you're more in that neck of the world, keep them in mind. And then if you're into water sports, Jean-Luc, I'm actually not very good at the French, so Robichaud, I'm not really sure how Jean-Luc says his last name. Anyone know? Robichaud? Okay. But he does the replacements of gaskets on dry suits, which is a quite specialized type of item. So if you're into water sports, he's really a good one to know about. He's real affordable and he does a good job. Again, I've used him for that type of stuff. He also builds fiberglass boats, and so if you have a fiberglass product, whether it's a kayak or a stand-up paddleboard, he can take care of repairs there, which can be fairly specialized. Seattle Fabrics, great place to know about and to have in the database if you need specialty fabrics, knickknacks of any kind. I mean, it's an amazing store. They have a store in Seattle, but you can get all their stuff online too. So be aware of them. If you're into climbing and ski mountaineering, ski touring, the Pro Ski Mountain Service and Mountain Service in North Bend is kind of the place to go in taking care of specialty issues, whether it's a buckle that needs to be replaced, to have boots refitted, bindings fixed. A lot of our backcountry skiers use Pro Ski and Mountain Service. And if you're headed to north or to Seattle, you can drop stuff off pretty conveniently to and from Seattle. Dave Page Cobbler, Seattle institution really in terms of taking care of boots of any sorts, hiking shoes of any sorts. Even does the Birkenstock if you're really into that granola type of look. So he's a great resource. He's been around, I think, since '69. So I think most people in the outdoor world around these parts know about him. Jan, are you able to go over to the Patagonia screenshot? Patagonia has put a big effort into getting people to repair, reuse, fix, extend the life of products. And they have a really great website. If we had it online, I could show it, but they really have tons of different how-to articles. So whether you want to fix a zipper, mend a hole, take care of a hole in a sock and darn it, fix the quilting in some of the puffies. I mean, they've got sort of these quite extensive how-to articles for dozens and dozens of different outdoor projects. So really a really cool website, and even though Patagonia is expensive gear, you know, I really have to take my hats off to them. They're really kind of on the vanguard of developing sustainable fabrics, producing product that's really well thought out and designed and made out of products where you don't have a weak link like a crummy zipper that ruins the whole product after a few years. I've had quite a number of Patagonia items, and almost all of them have lasted me over 20 years. So I'm really impressed with the quality of their stuff, and even though I'm often too cheap to buy it, when I find it on sale or at the Goodwill, man, do I jump on it. Okay, Gear Aid, which used to be McNett. These are kind of the guys that create all kinds of different products that can really extend the life of your gear. A lot of these products are fix-it items. Some of the items are just maintenance items that you can put on that will extend the life, either by keeping the product clean, or in the case of some things that might be made out of plastic or rubbers. There are different types of materials that you can put on them that will extend the plasticizers in the products to make them last longer. So I'm going to give you a little show and tell with some of the Gear Aid stuff, and then we'll finish the list here. This is done in no particular order. You know, all of us have probably a lot of different types of tapes in our arsenal. And I do want to say, like, tape is a great item to have with you as a fix-it while you're out in the field. And most of us have duct tape, and hopefully you know that all duct tapes are not the same. So I'm going to talk about this just a hair, but you know, here's Nashua is a big maker of duct tapes, and this is a cheap duct tape. So I'll pass it around, but you'll see that it has lines through it about every 3/16 of an inch. So it has a really low thread count. So this product here will not actually be real strong, and they use kind of a gooier elastic with it. It's a cheaper product. Now the same company has this product, and as I pass it around, it's got a really high thread count. It's like every 64th of an inch, or I'm not exactly sure, but there's a lot of threads in there. So this is really a much better duct tape. They use a better adhesive on it. It won't get as gooey in the heat. But having said that, duct tape is still really more of a field repair item. It's not a real permanent fix. And one other product that you're probably aware of is Gorilla Tape. And Gorilla Tape uses a high thread count. It's a little bit thicker than duct tape. And so sometimes, because it is thicker, it's not as good for the fix. Sometimes it's better because it's just a bit stronger. But really what I like this quite a bit better for is the adhesive on it doesn't get gooey. So it can be on a product for several years, it can be in the sun, and it doesn't turn into a gooey mess. And most of the time, even a good duct tape, if it's in the sun and in the heat and on your coat, it's going to leave kind of a mess there that's going to take acetone to get off.
Pybus University, where learning is a lifelong adventure.
Get the fastest internet available in North Central Washington by switching to LocalTel and get speeds up to 1,000 meg. Call 888-8888 today or go online to localtel.net.
Pybus University, where learning is a lifelong adventure.
And then, if we're going to really go to the king of tapes, and unfortunately this tape is a little bit expensive, but one of the Gear Aid products is called Tenacious Tape. And this stuff just sticks super well to stuff. It doesn't get gooey. It comes in a lot of different colors, but really the most versatile color is clear. So it's just put it on and it just takes the color of whatever you're putting it over. And give you an example, this summer I was on a month-long canoe trip. It rained on us virtually every day. We had 8 inches of rain over the course of a month. I put it on here where when you're sitting in a canoe, this spot's always wet. It stayed on there for the whole month without any problem. The pants have been laundered several times since, still on there. So it's really a pretty permanent fix. So Tenacious Tape, I think it's great to have with you in the field, but it's definitely something to have at home to fix things once you get back home. Clear. And then there are all manners of different urethane in a tube products that Gear Aid makes. And here they are. And these are, my family teases me because, you know, if there's a problem, my daughter's here too, so she's smiling at me. If there's a problem, either I'm going to say, well, put Tenacious Tape on it, and if it's not Tenacious Tape, then it's used Seam Grip. And Gear Aid makes 3 different urethanes that are basically a very similar product, but they're different thicknesses. So we've got Seam Grip being the runniest. If you want to keep a seam from leaking, it's great to use. But all of these urethanes, they come out of the tube kind of as a honey type consistency, and then after a few hours they start setting up, and after about 12 hours they're fully cured. But then they become kind of a rubbery patch, and they stick to almost everything. It'd be putting them over clothing or over your leather in the shoe or the canvas in a shoe. It'll make a really permanent fix. It'll be flexible, super abrasion resistant. So this thing just takes care of all kinds of different holes in abraded products. If you have a hole in a coat, you need to create some kind of a dam behind it, like put tape underneath and then spread this out so it'll make a puddle that encompasses the hole, and then put it on there, and voila, in 12 hours or so it'll fix it. Ziggy?
Yeah, the free sole is probably the best thing for cycling shoes when soles separate or the upper comes loose.
Yeah.
Most shoe repairs won't touch it because the barge cement and such won't stick to the nylon stiffener that's in the shoe. And I had a shoe repairman tell me, yeah, use the free sole. Sold me a tube of free sole, and that pair of shoes never came apart again. So sometimes it still does, but on other things, but it does the best job. Well, some of these, you see this nylon sole on a cycling shoe with a piece of rubber tread molded onto it, and even free sole doesn't do that real well.
Yeah, great. So, and really for the type of bonding that Ziggy was talking about, the seam grip would work, the free sole works, the aqua seal works. It goes from runny to thicker, but the free sole is actually the thickest of them, and it's a good way to build up heels of shoes that have begun to wear down too. You can tape, put a section of tape around here and then pour a bunch of free sole in. The tape acts as a dam, and then it'll level out the shoe. And then a lot of us get holes in the front of running shoes from our toe. So putting some free sole over that area is a great way to make sure that you extend the life of your shoe in that respect too. So really almost any kind of hole issue or gluing issue you can take care of with these guys. Okay, one of the issues with washing your outdoor rain gear, rain gear pretty much all comes with a durable water repellent on it these days. So the water repellent, this durable water repellent coating or treatment allows the water to bead up and run off the coat so that the fabric doesn't wet out. And if you wash your clothing in normal detergent, you tend to take that durable water repellency out of the fabric much quicker. So there are a variety of different more technical detergents for washing rain gear, and I really recommend that you use them. This one is made by Gear Aid. It's called Pro Cleaner, but Nick Wax, which is another large maker of cleaners and fabric protectors, makes one called Tech Wash also, and it's another really good one. If you have been washing your rain gear in normal detergent, you can reapply that durable water repellent with a spray-on product, durable waterproofing. So this kind of puts the coating back in. There's Nick Wax makes another product which you can wash your coat in. After you've cleaned it, you wash it in this stuff, and that puts that coating back in also. So you want to try to get your rain gear so it's beading off the water, particularly if it's a waterproof, breathable fabric. It'll work a whole lot better in terms of the breathability if it doesn't wet out.
Pybus University, where learning is a lifelong adventure.
Please join us weekly for the 12th District with yours truly, Kerry Condata. Check your channel guide for times or go to ncwlife.com for details.
Pybus University, where learning is a lifelong adventure.
Okay, if you've got a plastic product, whether it's a plastic kayak or in my case I use it for the seals of my dry suits, but this UV Tech is basically a sunscreen for your outdoor equipment. And particularly if you've got rubbers, whether it's waders, rubber boots, the types of seals on the dry suits, those things get real dry and they can start cracking and you can really reduce the life of them. So if you put this on it a few times a summer, it's sort of like Armor All for your car. I don't know if any of you use it on your vinyl, but it makes a big difference in extending the life of the rubbers. Those of you who have skins for climbing or for skiing, there are items that will make them slip better and keep them from absorbing water. So this is skin wax. That's a good one to have. If you've got skins, again, the glue starts to fade, and having a glue to put on the tips and the tails in particular will keep your skins performing much better. Aquaseal, this is the tenacious tape in little squares, so that makes a good little field repair item. I personally actually like the tape that I passed around the best. So you can cut it to any shape that you want. At home, having an epoxy glue, which is, I'm personally kind of a snob against the quick set epoxies, and that the epoxies, this one called JB Weld is a really good one. This one does not actually turn out to be clear, but the epoxies that take longer to cure, that take about an hour to cure, tend to be stronger than the quick-set epoxies. So having this in the arsenal at home is important.
What would you repair with the epoxy versus the urethane-based stuff?
Okay, so the epoxy is really good for more of a rigid fix. So if in the case of I might use it in a metal situation where I've got a metal piece that I need to take care of, and I pretty much always use the seam grips for something that's going to bend and is meant to be flexible. One thing I forgot to mention when I was talking about seam grip, you know, that's a great product. They make quarter-ounce tubes of it to take with you in the field. So the quarter-ounce tube is about this size. So it's a really great thing to have in your repair kit. But the problem is it takes a long time to set up. So a lot of times in the field, it's difficult to use the seam grip. So they've got this one called Aquaseal. And again, Aquaseal is seam grip, Aquaseal, free sole, and the thicknesses. So this one is the Aquaseal UV. So you can use this in the field. When you expose it to light, sunlight, it starts setting up really quickly. So you got a hole in your sleeping mattress. That's a really hard thing to fix well in the field. This will take care of it. If you use the seam grip, it's got to sit for about 8 hours for it to set up, which isn't always real practical when you're backpacking. Once you expose it, it takes about 30 seconds to start setting up, and then it's cured in, I don't know, 5 minutes. We'll have to look at the directions later, Jamie, but it goes quickly. So the trick with this is doing it in the shade or inside a tent or something, you know, finding a place where it doesn't have UV light. Otherwise, it's hard to get to work with it. It does. You know, just like you can get sunburn on cloudy days, there's plenty of UV out there. So good question, though. Zippers are something that fail often. I think we've got one that we're going to be working on in a little bit. Most often, the vast majority of zipper problems is the slider failing. And if you look at your zipper and all the teeth are still there, and it doesn't look like the backing is rotting away, then just replacing the slider will take care of the issue. And there's kind of a temporary thing that you can do in the field which will help for a little while, but it's not a great long-term fix. But most of the sliders, if you pinch them with pliers on the back side of the slider, on both sides, pinch them pretty firmly, they'll start closing the zipper. So I can show this to you, but if you imagine when you pull on the tab of the zipper tab is going towards the front of the zipper. So you want to be squeezing the slider farthest away from that tab. And not all of us carry pliers, but if you have a multi-tool, like a Leatherman that's got pliers on it, squeeze it, and you'll be surprised that it all of a sudden is magically working. But these kits, and we'll work with this on yours.
I've had the plier fix work for a year.
Okay, yeah, and it'll work for a little bit, and then you've got to squeeze it again, right? Yeah.
But, well, actually, it worked for a year, and then I squeezed it.
Oh, well, that's pretty good. That's not bad at all. I've had 10 zippers that are failing, and you squeeze it, and then 4 or 5 slides later you got to do it again, so it gets to be annoying. But anyway, with these kits, GearAid makes one where they give you the sliders for a bunch of different popular zippers that outdoor fabrics or outdoor clothing uses. So you take off, you have to rip the seam at the end of the zipper, slide the zipper off, or the slider off, slide the new slider on, and it's a pretty easy fix compared to completely taking out a zipper. Some other things worth having at home are contact cement. There's nothing that there's very little that you need a contact cement for that the seam grip or free sole won't take care of, but the contact cement's quick. So if you have a delaminated shoe sole, if you clean it well, and it's not made out of nylon, but it's made out of leathers and rubbers. If you clean it well, you put this on each surface. It takes a few minutes for the contact cement to dry. You press it together, voila, you're ready to go. So this is a great thing to have it at home. You can buy this and with this accelerator, and so it really speeds it up, and particularly for home use. This is helpful. I guess for me the issue is when I'm at home I can usually let stuff sit around for 8 hours versus 1 hour. It's not going to matter usually, so I don't use it. And in the field this is a pretty heavy little bottle to carry around, so I tend not to bring it myself for field use. So I err towards that little UV one that I pointed out.
Pybus University, where learning is a lifelong adventure.
Have a fun video you'd like to see featured on NCW Life? Email us at newsphotos@ncwlife.com.
Pybus University, where learning is a lifelong adventure.
Some other things, just some tips I'm going to tell you about these products too. They'll dry out in a tube, or I don't know if dry out is the right word, but once you open them, if you leave them in the shop and you haven't used it for several months, you come back and you may find that it's all solid. So store this stuff in the freezer, and it pretty much gives it an indefinite life. The stuff can be wet. It can get wet, it can go on wet fabrics, so the stuff doesn't have to be dried, and just like the accelerator, actually if the fabric's wet, a lot of times you get a better bond. So it's kind of an interesting thing about the product also. Okay, other things to have at home and to take some with you, baling wire. And get stainless steel baling wire. So come take a look at this at the end. There's a lot of little things. I don't take very much of this, but there's just times where you've got to hold something together. Maybe pins come out of a backpack, and you need something that's got some rigidity to get it through a hole, and then you can twist it with pliers, and it makes a quick fix in a way that sewing is impossible if it's got to deal with metal on metal. So anyway, having a little bit of this, a few feet of it with you on your repair kit is a really handy item for some difficult things.
Where did you buy that at?
I got it online, and I'll give you my email at the end, and I can tell you the source, but or you can write down what this is and then just search for it. It comes in a variety of different gauges, and I think this is 20 gauge, and I find that to be a pretty handy gauge for malleability, but strong enough to take care of problems. Okay, just making sure I haven't missed anything. Some straps. I've got 2 straps here that are cure-alls for a variety of different types of things. These are a little bit less about fixing things at home, but fixing things in the field. So the volet strap, probably a lot of you are familiar with it. It's great. You can tighten it really quickly and efficiently. And it has elasticity to it, so when you reef on it, it just really kind of cinches really nice and tight. So if you need to splint, they come in a lot of different lengths. So if you need to splint something, say you break a ski pole, you can wrap a few of these, wrap it around as many times as you can, really reef on it. If you got 2 of them, you can put a stick between a brake and a ski pole, and 2 of these will hold it together. And or the Arno strap, and this one is more of a nylon. It's quite a bit lighter, actually, than the volet strap. And this is another good one. It doesn't really stretch, so it doesn't cinch up in quite the same way. But again, you can use it to splint all manners of things, hold things on packs, hold ski tips together. Just lots and lots of purposes. So Arno strap and the volet strap. All right, so I think that, downproof. There's a variety of different types of cleaners for down now, but also, as a lot of you probably know, down is now being made more water resistant. So you can buy down now that is called dry down, and if you get rained on, it'll eventually wet out, but it's hugely more water resistant than normal down. And this stuff you can wash into down, and it gives it more of that dry down characteristic, so it'll repel water quite a bit better. So it's called, this one was called Downproof. From Nick Wax. And so let's just finish real quickly our sheet then. That was kind of the dog and pony show of stuff that Gear Aid has. But the Nick Wax is another one of these purveyors of all kinds of different types of cleaners and waterproofers. So they're a really good one to be aware of for extending your life. Okay, thank you. And I'm being pretty slow here and getting through this, so we'll finish this up quickly. Read about Solution X. If you have stains and stuff and you've decided that nothing will take care of it and you're about to get rid of something as a result of it being stained, try this cleaner. It has the potential of damaging stuff because it has chlorine in it, but I've used it on all manner of synthetics and not actually ever lost something to it. So I've found it really successful in cleaning difficult stains. Online outlets, you can get virtually any kind of fabric, fastener, doodad these days online. It just takes the right string to search on, so I've given you some examples here. And then a few notes from Mark Shipman that are worth taking note of. There are quite a few purveyors that are making products that have lifetime guarantees, and so remember that, because if an item, I mean, if you've grossly mistreated it, they're not going to warranty it, but if a seam blows out, a zipper fails, the waterproofing on it fails, there are a lot of places, OR, Patagonia, that will replace that item or fix it. And then Jamie, one of our helpers in the back, sent me some links of places to get fabrics. So this specialty outdoor place has a lot of products and articles for do-it-yourselfers. The rockywoods.com is another place that's somewhat like Seattle Fabrics. And then this tent pole technologies. If you've got a broken tent or you need to replace a tent, this is kind of a really good source to know about.
Pybus University, where learning is a lifelong adventure.
Get the fastest internet available in North Central Washington by switching to LocalTel and get speeds up to 1,000 meg. Call 888-8888 today or go online to localtel.net.
Pybus University, where learning is a lifelong adventure.
Okay, and then just really quickly, there's Wenatchee Outdoors has a lot of articles on fixing it, and so I've given you some search strings that will take care of fixing or getting you in touch with some information there. So, any quick questions? So the tents that anything that's polyurethane coated is susceptible to that. It's a molding of the coating. And once it starts, you're not going to really get rid of it. You can slow it down, but it's kind of an unfixable, irreversible problem. But that doesn't mean that it won't continue to work for quite a while if it hasn't gone too far south. The important thing is really to make sure that you pack away the stuff when it's super dry. And even when you think it's dry, it may not really be quite dry enough. So one of the things that I recommend doing is put baby powder, talcum powder, on it, and that will help it a lot.
What's the deal? You're burning through these.
I am, yeah. There is, I forgot to bring it, but it reminded me, there's a product that Gear Aid makes too that's called Mirazine. And it's an enzyme cleaner. It takes care of odors and stinky insoles, stinky shoes. Wetsuits get real smelly. So it takes care of that, but it won't actually take away the problem of the mold of a polyurethane coating beginning to go bad. So unfortunately, that's not going to get fixed. So I can't tell you whether the Nikwax durable water repellent works better than the Gear Aid.
I've used the Nikwax for years.
Yeah, and have you had good results with it?
Yeah, and actually I've used it on items that basically weren't water repellent.
Yeah.
And made them pretty dang good.
Yeah, and they kind of bill some of their products for that. They have something for piles, or they have one that's, I forget what it's called, but you're supposed to wash kind of fleecy type things in it, and it'll help water bead off of it. And then they have a variety of different products for different types of fabrics that you can wash in and will make them water resistant. He was asking, with wool, when you get holes in it, he didn't know whether it was moths or something else, whether I sew them or just let them go. And yeah, and I sew them, because let any hole go, it'll start expanding more quickly.
Hey Andy, so I was looking through your stuff here.
Stay up to date with what's happening in North Central Washington. Go to the NCW Life Community Calendar at ncwlife.com.